This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 228, Aussie Mac Zone. I've got Garth and Zarn with me. How are you, Garth?
I'm bloody awesome, Michael. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Bit drier up there for you?
I don't know. It rained. It just doesn't want to stop. But it was drier today, yeah. So I'll give it that.
And Zarn.
No, yeah, it's been very well.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Yeah, it has.
I'm great. I'm just back from Port Macquarie after a fantastic sunny, fun-filled weekend. So
Excellent.
drove.
Sun-filled and fun-filled. That's even better.
It was.
It's almost like you're in Queensland, mate.
Oh, yeah, except for the fun part.
Except for the flooding.
Only difference between Port Macquarie and Queensland is Port Macquarie's fun.
So,
if you call sleeping fun, yes.
So, on with the show. This week's sponsors, athwebhosting.com.au and aussietechradio.com. So our little Aussie Apple Ramleys this week. This one's particularly for Garth. Microsoft's latest iOS accessibility app gives directions via 3D audio to those with vision impairments and recommends AirPods. Microsoft has announced a new app for those with vision impairments, Soundscape for iOS. Has been in development for about 4 years and is now available for free. Apple is well known. Sorry?
In the US and UK stores, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
is it? Sorry.
Yes.
Apple is well known for providing a robust range of accessibility features for its products and even its buildings. However, we've seen Microsoft also adding some recent notable contributions to the accessibility space. Just last week, we saw an update for the Be My Eyes iOS app that allows users to receive support from over 850,000 volunteers to get help from Microsoft's Disability Answer Desk. This week's Soundscape app releases another way Microsoft is enabling safer and easier mobility for those with vision impairments. And the company even recommends using Apple AirPods. And here's how Microsoft describes what the app does and how it works. Microsoft's Soundscape uses 3D audio technology to enhance your awareness of what is around you and thereby help you get around and explore your surroundings. Soundscape will place audio cues and labels in 3D space such that they sound like they are coming from the direction of the points of interest, parks, roads, and other features in your surroundings. You will need a pair of stereo headsets that you feel comfortable wearing outdoors. For example, bone conduction headsets, Apple's AirPods, and in-ear open headphones that have proven to work well. Soundscape is designed to live in the background and provide you with effortless ambient awareness. Therefore, feel free to use it in conjunction with other apps such as podcasts, audiobooks, email, and even GPS navigation. So I guess you haven't had a chance to use it yet, Garth.
No, I haven't had a chance to use it.
Does that mean we've got to fly you to England to have a go?
No, it'll come. Microsoft had another great. Oh, they've got a couple of good apps. There's another one that is available here that does sort of a real-time text-to-speech type stuff, face awareness, sort of scene recognition, stuff like that. It's a really noisy water bottle. And
Sorry. I thought I was being very good there.
No, not really. But sorry. But the thing with this one, right? Like, why would they recommend AirPods? They go in your ear and block. The first thing you want to do as a blind person or vision impaired person walking outside is hear your environment, your real, actual environment, right?
Yeah.
Not full your ears full of headphones. So the bone conduction is great. Something like the what is it? Blues, titanium blues, and a few different ones there that do the bone conduction. So you don't actually have the headphones in your ears. You want to hear the real world that's going on around you, not just the augmented stuff. all that said, this is a pretty cool app. Basically, it'll give you. There's a lot of apps already, and some do similar sorts of things that give you information about. I'll be on the bus, for example, and it'll tell me, Kmart, 350 meters to the left, or whatever.
Yeah.
As you're walking along the street addresses, crossings in front of, you're coming up to a road. There's 3 intersections, East Street to the left and Main Street straight ahead, or whatever. All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And this does the same sort of thing, but it will just depend on how robust the points of interest are as to how usable it is. Like realistically, you don't need 3-dimensional notification of where a road is. What you need to do is actually listen to your environment and hear the real road is right there, to your left. But for things like shops and, if you're walking along looking for a particular shop, then it would be very handy for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You'll just hear, instead of getting an announcement, Lowe's Menwear is to the right, or, at 6 o'clock or at 12 o'clock or whatever, it'll sound like it's where it is.
Okay.
That's the goal anyway.
Yeah.
It all comes how robust that points of interest data is and accurate it is.
Yeah.
And how good your GPS and compass are working, because if if you're out by 5 or 6 meters, you might end up in the local pawn shop rather than the coffee shop. Yeah. So, and we all know how reliable GPS is. Yeah.
Garth, how often do you end up in the local pawn shop?
Never.
It's never his fault.
That's right.
Well, maybe this next story will help. Apple expands transit directions and lane guidance in several locations. Apple has today made some improvements to both transit directions and lane guidance in Apple Maps. The company has been making a rapid push to get both of these features out the door, and has been looking to expand them in as many cities as possible. In total, lane guidance is now available in the following countries: the US, Australia, New Zealand, Belgium, Canada, China, France, Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, and the UK. So I have noticed a lot more lane guidance instructions coming from Apple Maps while I've been driving, because I use it a lot now. The lane guidance is getting very accurate, saying things like turn right from the right 2 lanes, as opposed to just turn right when you get to the end of the street, or bear left from the left 2 lanes, as opposed to just bear left at the next intersection. So we are getting a lot more information. And I just found a spelling mistake.
Sure, it wouldn't be one of yours though, Michael, right? These article writers, I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know.
We don't see that on Apple News for Aussie Mac Zone section.
Reminder, this week we are brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au, and this week we have some exciting news later in the show. And reminder that they do have affordable and competitive plans, 99.95% uptime, domain registration, free setup, auto setup, instant activation. They accept PayPal as well as other cards, 250 scripts installed with one click, including WordPress and Joomla. The cPanel industry standard user-friendly feature-rich control panel, all from $5.95 per month when paid annually, and a 24/7 ticket support system with friendly help when needed. And I will have some more for you shortly. Google for iOS adds iMessage extension, browser suggestions, drag and drop for iPad, just to name a few of the little things it's added. So it's adding a number of new features that expand the availability of search functionality via the Share extension and iMessage. And meanwhile, the app is also gaining support for iOS 11's iPad features. With the latest update, the Google app now includes an iMessage extension that feature a quick search functionality for both the web and GIFs. Similar to Gboard's existing capabilities, there are shortcuts for food and nearby, or searching for a location will let users paste a card directly into the conversation that includes the address and phone number. To the right of the search bar, there's also a GIF lookup feature to paste animations into a conversation. Meanwhile, Google is taking better advantage of the share extension with a new Search Google button in the sheet, and tapping will load a list of similar results for the page you're currently looking at. Google notes that this works in Safari, Chrome, and other third-party iOS browsers. And the last change today brings support for iPad improvements that Apple drew with its latest iOS. You can now drag and drop to quickly and easily move text, images, and links to and from the Google app. And if you're reading a great article on the Google app, tap and hold it to pick up the link and drag it to iMessage to share with a friend or into Notes to save for later. So they're just catching up and giving us what they've had for a while also, I suppose. And this might have something to do with it. Yeah, sorry, Garth. Yes?
No, go ahead.
It's a bit of a funny news week this week. So, iOS nips at Android's heels in user loyalty. Americans are far less likely to switch between the iPhone and an Android smartphone than they once were. A new study shows that virtually all users of
I hope they do.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, smoke phone. I was going to say, I hope they don't want to switch to Android smoking phones.
A new study shows that virtually all users of both types have little interest in moving to the other team. Loyalty to Android is just slightly stronger than it is to iOS. Nevertheless, more people are switching away from Google's operating system than they are Apple's. Consumer intelligence research partners studied the numbers of customers that remained with each operating system when activating a new phone in 2017. It found that Android has a 91% loyalty rate compared to 86% for iOS. And loyalty is as high as we've ever seen, said Mike Levin, a CIRP co-founder. Loyalty for both Android and iOS increased in 2015 and 16 when it leveled off for both operating systems.
I'd like to see the statistics on that, because I'm sure they fluctuate through the year.
So,
but anyway.
Yeah. Comparisons between the iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy S9 began pouring out after the flagship Android device was announced last week. But it seems the point is rather moot, as most people aren't seriously considering the alternatives. So, be interesting, because it talks about them not changing and they're changing. So that's why I figured that basically the Apple is saying, well, we're not going to sell any more phones. We've got to go for the aftermarket stuff or other countries, because they'd be keeping track of this for years, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, I think so too. Like, I swapped to Apple where I was at iPhone 4. I swapped back over to Apple from Android. Because I went into a store, had a look at the phones, and realised that Apple was easier to use. It was more user-friendly. And I haven't gone back since. And so, my loyalty's there. But I also do a Mac podcast, so I may be a little bit biased.
Yeah, that's pretty much right. There's not much we can say that isn't biased, but It is interesting that people just don't tend to swap as much as they may have previously. People are growing and, growing a bunch of apps that they've purchased on a given platform. And the lock-in has just got stronger and stronger.
And there's not that really huge development that was been going on for the last few years, has there been?
You're not missing out on anything much from going from one to the other. So you might as well just stay where you are. You may as well stay comfortable with what you're doing, I guess.
Yeah. I guess so too. I've got mates that hassle me out hard that, their smartphone is better than my smartphone, but,
Yeah, but we just keep quiet and stay producing.
That's right.
Now, here's how the iPhone 6S performs better. Sorry, performs before and after a battery replacement. There's a new video shared which offers a great look at just how noticeable the performance difference is between an iPhone 6S with performance throttling and one with a brand new battery just replaced by Apple. Now, the video shared by Bennett Sorbo showcases his iPhone 6S before and after the battery replacement. And Sorbo says his device was originally purchased 2 years ago and was being performance throttled prior to the battery replacement. What's noticeable about this video is that it's not showing two different devices, but rather the same device before and after the replacement process. So as for the battery process itself, Sorbo says he ended up waiting about a month, a wait time that doesn't seem all that uncommon given just how inundated Apple is with battery replacement requests right now. And throughout the video, Sorbo walks through a variety of different tasks ranging from opening apps to browsing in Safari. The difference in performance is pretty stark, even for basic tasks like loading the home page. The throttling is most noticeable when loading graphic and information-intensive tasks. And in terms of Geekbench testing, the throttled iPhone 6S scored 2485 in a multi-core testing, while the same test with the new battery scored 4412. That's a pretty noticeable difference. So yeah, it's good that it's the same phone before and after, as opposed to, oh, here's one that's got a battery and here's one that hasn't, because
Yeah.
you know it's the same stuff. Yeah.
Certainly noticed a difference when I got a fresh battery in my 6S.
Yeah.
I was getting the battery warning, you know, take your phone in for a service, took it in, got a new battery, and it did perform a lot better. Well, no, I wouldn't say a lot better, but there were times when you noticed it.
Yeah. Well, that's all it takes is just noticing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I haven't got a battery warning yet, but I think I need to replace it anyway. It's just little things, and I think I should probably just get it in there and get it done. If there's a month wait, so I might as well just go in and say I want to change my battery, and then when they tell me to bring it in, then I'll just bring it and get it done.
Surely that's got to slow down soon, right? There's got to be a gap in there soon.
Absolutely. Let's hope so.
You would hope.
Yeah.
we do have a lot of phones out there, you know.
Well, that's true.
More and more people are hearing about it. How cheap it is to go and get your phone battery changed.
Yep. So a reminder this week, we are brought to you by Aussie Tech Radio at aussietechradio.com and our sister podcast, Aussie Tech Security Podcast, and the Aussie Tech Heads Podcast, our award-winning podcast, and our new show, the Aussie Tech Crypto, which is newbie crypto with an Aussie perspective. And it's got other podcasts from Australia, and you can just have it playing in the background the whole time you're at work, and you're going to pick up little bits and tidbits from here and there, little stories, things that'll get your interest. So, yeah, please have a listen.
There's some really good podcasts on there, actually. I've gone through them the other day and had a look, because I'm always looking for new podcasts. I listen to heaps of them. And so,
Very good. I'll have to check it out too.
AussieTechRadio.com. Now, Apple patented a keyboard that can't be defeated by crumbs. And this is not the glass screen keyboard that's been in discussion either.
Exactly.
The Verge reports Apple filed a patent made public yesterday for a keyboard that resists crumbs, which is the biggest complaint about the newest MacBook Pro keyboards.
I know, right?
Resist crumbs. It's like it's begging for them. Come on, just give us a bite. Just want a little bite.
And they just fail. The keyboards just fail and make it hard, and you can vacuum it as much as you like. It still doesn't necessarily fix it. But, they keep the dirt out, either by sealing gaps off or having a membrane beneath each key that would blow out air every time a key is pressed, pushing out unwanted debris. So it's just going to sit there and, every key farts every time you touch it. So from the figures shown in the patent, it's clear that Apple is considering many different approaches and alternatives to create a crumb-resistant keyboard.
One of them is the farting keyboard.
And the patent was filed on September the 8th, just a day after the company officially announced the iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus.
Awesome.
So we've had our fun with that one. That's all we've got. It's a very quiet news week this week, except for this awesome story that I've got now. So, a disclaimer, athwebhosting.com.au are a sponsor of the show, but this is a news story regarding them. athwebhosting.com.au has introduced an online backup services for Mac, Windows, and Linux on AWS. That's where I used to work. AWS service in Sydney.
AWS.
Why is Sydney important? Because doctors and medical businesses can now store medical records in Australia. It's illegal to keep medical records outside the country. So just so you know, that's why it's important to know where the server is if you're in that particular range. And it's other people where they gather medical information. I've got a customer that's a tour company, and they get medical. They have medical information for each of the person that goes away, and they're not allowed to store that outside of Australia. So just be aware. Now the price, 100 gig is $19.90 a month. 250 gig is $29 a month. 500 is just $43.95 a month. 750 gig is $61.95 a month. Or 1,000 gig is only $73.95 a month. And we'll have some more news on that shortly, because we've got some other things coming along with that particular service that he's offering. So that's, just so you know, a backup system that you can put your data on. And in more breaking news from ATH, he's been busy, from athwebhosting.com.au. Yeah, this week they also significantly improved their website building package, which is now including 309 responsive themes and 40 plus awesome widgets. So it's a drag and drop website builder. And if you just go to their page, as opposed to my really long one, which is athwebhosting.com.au/point-click-build-website-in-over-300-themes/, or you could just go to athweb.
Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, athwebhosting.com.au.
Trying to type it down here. Hurry, slow down.
And then go to the little menu hamburger. You can have a look in there, or it gives you, if I can just see it again now, I've lost it. Yeah, you go to menus, extras, and then site pad, and it'll show you some information there, how to awesomely create a website in just a few minutes. So certainly worth going and have a look at. And you get a really good, and the responsive part's important because that makes it up for your all your various devices that you want people to look at your website in. So yeah, please go and have a look. And again, we will have some more news from Glenn in a few weeks.
We've just had a message come up on the Facebooks.
Yeah.
And it's from James Taylor. He's just saying, I'll share this to the boys at DCOM. Good on you guys. So just I'll say thank you, James, and thanks to the guys at DCOM that we know them personally. We use them, you know. So hi guys at DCOM, and thanks for your support.
And thanks for paying attention, Zarn. Yeah. And that's why you're the producer, and I just sit here reading crap. So we got any more stories? Anything more to say?
Well, I just did it speaking crap. No, God no.
Got nothing? Zara, do you got anything extra you want to add before I do my how-tos? I've got some how-tos this week. So.
Honestly, I'm sorry, guys, I don't this week. I got home late and I rushed straight over to do the podcast, so I don't have much at all.
Too much fun.
Too much fun.
Yeah. So changing the type case. So I typed something out the other day using lowercase characters and numbers, and then I realised, that's no good because I can't give it to Apple like that. I'll get shot. So had to work out a quick way to make it all uppercase really easy. So when you're in a text editor, like text editor or notes, you right-click or two-finger tap on selected text, and then you can choose select transformations, and you can select make uppercase or make lowercase, or you can capitalize it. So yeah, very handy.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, just something you don't go, oh damn, I've got to retype it. But it's got to be in a text editor. Like it won't do it in Pages, for example.
Yeah.
The option's not there. You can. There are other ways of doing it in Pages, but yeah. So type to Siri. So when travelling on the quiet carriages, which we have in Sydney, you got those, Garth? Got quiet carriages on your trams and stuff?
Oh, quite possibly, but
Up
I
there
don't
on
know.
the
I can't see
trains,
the
they have
sign,
quiet
so
carriages.
shut away anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Brisbane they have a quiet carriage.
Yeah.
When you're travelling in the mornings and stuff like that. I used to get the train from Toowong over to Southport, and there was a quiet carriage there when I got on the train. Yeah, most of the time I get.
Or you're in the. Sorry.
No, you go.
Yeah. Or in the middle of a meeting, you may not want to talk to Siri out loud. With iOS 11, you can now type a question or request Apple's virtual or a request to Apple's virtual assistant. Launch the settings menu, then select General, Accessibility, and Siri, and make sure the Type to Siri switch is turned on. And then it's there for you to choose. Shift your iPhone's keyboard to the left or right for easier one-handed typing. Apple is making it more comfortable to type with one hand in iOS 11. Press and hold the globe button on your iOS device's keyboard and select one of the layouts at the bottom in the mini menu. You'll find options for sliding the keyboard to the right, left, or middle of your iPhone's screen. So there you go, a couple of simple little how-tos.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. I like that one.
And very useful with these bigger and bigger phones.
Yes.
Yeah. It's either that we have to grow bigger hands. So.
And it's amazing going from, say my 6 Plus to the 10. I'm definitely not quite typing as accurately as I used to. It's just obviously I've still catching up just to get it right, you know. But, and one of the things we lost Garth.
Yeah, we've lost Garth. Hang on a second.
That makes our screen go to crap.
It does. There we go.
He's coming back.
He's coming back.
There he is.
Hi,
what a
Garth.
cheeky boy.
Hey, mate.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Now, he's just trying to knock off early, you know, sneak out the back door. Our show promotion, show links each week on our show upload. So you'll see down the bottom, it's got, you know, Aussie Max Zone / show 228 for this week, for example. Spotify, just search Aussie Max Zone. Apple News is Aussie Max Zone. And thank you to our listeners, our sponsors, this week being athwebhosting.com.au and aussietechradio.com, and our supporters. Thank you very much, Garth. Thank you, Zarn.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Garth.
Thank you.
An apple a day keeps the androids away. Thank you, supporters. Thank you, fans. Thank you, Decom. Thank you, James. And good night. All right, guys.
I won't be saying.
You're not saying thank you?